Hi, happy June. I got a lot of comments on my last video from last week about wanting more philosophy. And I love that because I love talking about philosophy. And so this week I want to talk about the philosophy of fragrance. And I'm going to be sharing some book recommendations as well, kind of pertaining to the topic of scent and memory and existing and specifically Heidegger. He wrote Being in Time, and I just want to weave together these two worlds that I love so much that are so intertwined with one another. So I'll be talking about that today. I'm going to be sharing also some of my fragrance collection with you and also a June TBR. So books that I'm reading for this month, or at least books that have sparked my curiosity. Also, I have broken down so many different categories of summer that I really love. I am somebody who loves a gothic melancholic summer. So in the very near future, I'll be doing videos about gothic summer fragrances, gothic summer books, gothic summer activities, all those things. So yeah, for today, I'm going to do some philosophy with you, some fragrance and books. And I really want to start doing more, not video essay per se, but I do want to weave in a lot more philosophy and kind of like different ideas, different thought processes, and all of that stuff into these videos because I think that they're important and I think that they're helpful and I think that it makes the genre less intimidating and hopefully more approachable. Most of the videos that I have saved on my own personal YouTube channel are philosophy videos, video essays, and things of that nature. So I don't know. I think it's like as a creator, it's important to create the things that you love to consume. And also just, putting your own spin on it. I think there's often a fear when people ask me like, how do you start a Substack? How do you start a YouTube? How do you start creating content? And I think there's always this underlying fear that there's not enough space at the table. And there isn't. You just have to make space for yourself. And the only way to do that is to stay true to who you are, stay true to what you love, stay true to the things that you put out in the world, and that energy will be reciprocated back to you. Those are my thoughts. So with that said, I want to talk to you about the philosophy of fragrance. So I'm somebody who does not wear perfume because I want to be noticed. I wear it because I want to be remembered, and I wear it for myself. So I'm not big on like beast mode fragrances, but I really want to leave behind some proof, not that I was seen necessarily, but that I was felt in some way, shape, or form. For me, perfume doesn't really exist for the eye. It really it lives in the air, on the skin, in memory, and then it disappears. But I think that's the thing. I love things that disappear. I always have. It's probably why I have commitment issues. I love the way that sunlight moves across wooden floors, the way that steam rises off tea, the very last page of a novel. And perfume is like that. It's proof that something happened and then it's gone. There's something very fleeting about that. And what's strange is how something so fleeting can mean so much to you. You spray a scent and within an hour it's faded, but someone might carry it with them for years. It might anchor them to a moment or to you, or to a version of you that they'll never meet again. I told you that we were going to talk about Heidegger today, specifically Being in Time. This is a very intimidating book, and it's very dense, but basically the crux of this novel really is Heidegger said that being is defined by its relationship to time, and that to truly exist, you have to know that you won't exist forever. We aren't just alive, we are always dying every day in our everyday lives. And I think that most people forget that. And that awareness, that finitude is what gives our lives so much shape and weight and urgency. And perfume is like that as well. It really knows that it won't last and it doesn't try to. It's temporal by nature. It doesn't really cling. It doesn't archive itself. It just happens in real time. And then it's gone and it's kind of left as a memory for us to cling to, whether we're trying to find nostalgia, comfort, or simply trying to relive experiences that we wish that could happen in our real lives. Perfume is something that happens in the present tense. In this book specifically, Heidegger uses the term being toward death, right? It's this phrase, being toward death, to describe the kind of existence that is fully aware of its impermanence. It's not morbid. When I read that, it's not morbid, even though to some it might sound like it, but it's very clarifying in a way when you understand that something is going to end. You pay closer attention to the thing that either you're not wanting to end or the thing that you know is kind of like inevitably going to end. And it just becomes a lot more meaningful, at least to me. And the embodiment of perfume is similar in that way. The top notes in perfume bloom and then they fade. The heart emerges. The base lingers, but only just for a moment or just for an hour. And it's always becoming something else and then nothing. But we love it anyway. And in fact, I think you love it because of that. There's this kind of philosophical bravery in that, to be able to create beauty that isn't meant to last, to be worn into the world and then lost to it. And perfume is something that doesn't really try to resist time. It just moves with it. And in doing so, I think it really reveals something about us too, that maybe we aren't meant to be static. Maybe we're meant to be fleeting and remembered, not for what we preserved, but for what we really evoked in the moment, evoked toward ourselves and toward others. And perfume is something that really teaches you how to be here now, not forever. And I want to mention some of these fragrances that kind of evoke those feelings of philosophical connectedness, that really just make me feel beautifully, intentionally now and present. One of those fragrances being Relique d'Amour by Ariza Legrand. This is a perfume that smells like incense that is clinging to cold stone, like lilies wilting on marble, on an altar, or like a memory that's already starting to decay. This is a scent that is ghostly and devotional, like something sacred that you're not sure that you believe in anymore, but you still try and have faith anyway. There's also this science element behind scent. As you know, it's the actual physical reason why scent feels so emotional to us. And unlike sight or sound, which get processed through layers of interpretation in the brain, your sense of smell is something that takes a shortcut. It's really the only sense that we have with a direct line to the limbic system. And this limbic system is a part of the brain that is responsible for memory, mood, and emotion. That means that scent doesn't wait for you to make sense of it, and it doesn't ask to be understood. It just hits you fully and immediately. It kind of bypasses the logic that your brain usually has. It skips language. It doesn't want to be named. It just wants to be felt. And I think that's why one whiff or scent of something can really make your stomach drop or your eyes water or make you feel loved in a way that you haven't felt in years. Scent truly is emotion in its rawest, most unprocessed form. And it's not just that perfume really reminds you of something, it brings you to this place physically and neurologically, and suddenly you're not remembering the moment, you're reliving it with your whole body. It's very visceral in that way. Proust is another philosopher that kind of had theories and thoughts on this very subject, specifically when he spoke about involuntary memory. It's really similar to how the way a Madeleine dipped in tea unlocked an entire childhood, where memory doesn't really live in facts, it lives in sensation and in traces, in the air, in small moments in between our daily lives. And for me personally, perfume is a better record of my life than any diary that I've ever kept. And I say this as a writer. Scent is one of those things that doesn't just bring me back to the moment, it brings me back to myself, who I was, what I needed, what I didn't have the words for yet. And some fragrances really hold those versions of me so clearly. Another fragrance that really gives me visceral full body reactions is White Rice by Dainam. This is just comfort in its purest form, like the memory of my childhood that is softened by time. There's jasmine, steamed rice, soft skin, and when I wear this, I just feel held by every version of myself that needed gentle parenting. Like my therapist always tells me that I have to go back and parent myself. I think all of us need to do that sometimes. And when I wear this, I kind of feel like ritualistically I'm doing some version of parenting myself. Monstera by Shinu is the complete opposite. It's very loud and green and alive, and it smells like walking through a jungle just to remember that you're a living, breathing human. It's all crunching leaves under your feet and chlorophyll and floral shadows, and I wear it when I want to remember that I'm still in the process of becoming the person who I've always wanted to be, that there are parts of me that haven't quite bloomed yet, and I think some perfumes feel very personal in that way. Molecule 01 plus Iris isn't really a smell so much as it is an idea. It's also very fleeting. It vanishes and returns depending on your skin, your sweat, your surroundings. It's very pure, both there and not there, and like identity, really, which is the only thing that exists in relation to everything else. Le Lion by Chanel is just power and restraint. There's amber, smoke, sunlight. It's not trying to be liked, it's trying to be remembered. It's very mythic and imagined and unforgettable. Chahota is a fragrance that smells like sugar on skin in the most intimate version of vanilla possible. Not dessert vanilla, memory. The kind that feels like a dream that you were once part of. Perhaps licking the spatula off of the cookie dough bowl when you were making chocolate chip cookies with your mom. It's perfect. Little Flower by Regime de Fleur is holy. There's dew, rose, crushed black tea, not the flower, but the moment. It's handed to you. It's trembling and soft and beautiful. 101 by Fishersund is moss, rain, Icelandic air. It smells like walking through a place older than memory, like being small and welcomed and just being in a place that feels like you can breathe again. Kayak 10 by Le Labo is quiet wood smoke, the warmth left in a sweater, tenderness without performance, the trace of love that is already gone. Lastly, Portrait of a Lady, which is rose, incense, and resurrection. It's never subtle, never meant to be. She is what you wear when you want to be remembered in the best way. So essentially, perfume just really teaches you how to disappear with grace. It vanishes, it changes, and still we wear it because being smelled is being known differently, not just seen but felt, and not just remembered but almost haunted. So I have to admit, I started to get really overwhelmed as I was filming all of my perfumes because I was like, how am I going to talk about each and every single one of these? This is ridiculous and I have anxiety, so I'm not going to do that. But I did pick a bag full of all of my favorite scents and some sentimental perfumes that I have. I'm not going to go on a deep dive and be super descriptive about each one just because I have quite a few, and I'm just going to rapid fire several of them, but hopefully that little vignette of just most of my perfumes kind of helped give you an idea of some of the scents in my collection. It's weird because over the past year or two, I've just really developed my taste as I've gotten my nose on more fragrances that I didn't even think could exist. For example, I think of Marissa Zappa's and Courtney from Universal Flowering and their love child Gourmand. I've gotten to smell perfumes like that with these very strange and esoteric notes that I just really love. Like I said, I didn't know could exist. And so I'm really building out my collection. So I don't want this to be this is my whole collection type of video, just an intro to some of the fragrances that I've kind of ignited this love of scent for me, and what kind of like served as my gateway drug into this world of fragrance, because I am quite obsessed. And as someone who runs very anxious, a little bit autistic, a little bit ADHD, I have found a lot of comfort in using scent as my stim. So with that said, let me tell you about some of my favorites in my collection. I did want to start out with a banger because I love wearing fragrances that juxtapose my personality and juxtapose kind of like my internal world as an introvert, because this is quite literally the most extroverted fragrance. It's so beautiful. It's very ambery and warm and bold and daring and sophisticated and elegant and confident. I think this is one of Chanel's masterpieces, the number one masterpiece, at least in my collection, at least in my opinion. I really love Sycamore as well, and Coromandel, but this Le Lion makes me feel like a strong, powerful, hot woman, like very New York vibes, very night out on the town vibes. So I kind of love this for that reason. In the same breath of fragrances that juxtapose my personality, Portrait of a Lady is actually really like the first perfume that made me feel like a woman, if that makes sense. I've smelled this fragrance on multiple people, and it smells very different on everyone, which is what I really love about it. I get, and this is not why I like this scent, this is like getting compliments, like I don't really care. I wear fragrance for me, what makes me feel good. But I will say that if I had like a top 3 of fragrances that get me the most compliments, I have, not to sound annoying, but I really do get stopped everywhere with this fragrance. And it makes me feel good. And this makes me feel very confident. Like my Morticia Adams, Wednesday Adams side of me like really comes out with this. Like these two are like femme fatale in a bottle. Moving into woodier territory, this is one of my favorite Regime de Fleur scents, is Falling Trees, and it's very woody. I love woody fragrances. Cedar is one of my favorite notes in fragrance. I saw somebody get a tattoo of the Fragrantica notes, like their favorite Fragrantica notes, and I don't have any tattoos, and I will never get a tattoo, but I thought it was the cutest idea ever because it's very unique and creative. But cedar is one of my favorite notes, and I love this one. It's very, very autumnal and woody, and it reminds me of Central Park when all the leaves are gone, and it reminds me of the Met, and I have very like fond memories with this scent. Okay, for this being one of my favorite Le Labo scents, I only have like a little bottle of this. This is Thé Noir. I'm a Thé Noir girl, and I love Another 13, but I love Thé Noir even more, and I have so many good memories with this scent. This is very sentimental to me, and it's very churchy, it's very gothic, it's very creamy and woody, sensual. I love the scent. I love it on me. It's balmy as well. It reminds me of the Eau Papinox candle from Diptyque. So Thé Noir 29. Staying in gothic territory, Relique d'Amour makes me feel like the most beautiful, ethereal Victorian ghost living in an abandoned church or living in a cemetery. I love this scent, and I just discovered this year, easily in my top 5 favorite scents of all time. This is a scent that makes me feel like I can breathe. It's very incensey, but there is a little bit of a sweetness in this that makes it absolutely perfect. I love it on my skin. I know people say that this doesn't last that long, but I don't care. That's not why I wear fragrance. Even if this lasted 1 minute, it's still worth every penny to me. My most worn and other most complimented fragrance is Molecule 01. This is my second bottle in less than a year. And I'm already halfway done with my second bottle. I love this scent. I actually don't leave the house and I don't wear a fragrance without this scent. And there's just one note. It's ISOE Super. Orpheon is my favorite diptyque scent. I did not like this scent until I layered it with Molecule because a lot of diptyque scents are very powdery, which my skin doesn't really agree with. I love the body gel of Orpheon. It makes my shower experiences like 10 times better. But when I layered them together, it cut the powdery and like really made the cedar notes prominent and the juniper note, which is just like, it makes me feel like a forest fairy. Okay, taking another spot in my most complimented fragrances is Valaya, specifically layered with Molecule. This is very angelic and ethereal. I think angels wear this scent. And I know this is a popular scent, but I love it. So many compliments on this. It's so fresh. It's so perfect for any season, any occasion. It makes me feel beautiful and ethereal and angelic, which is kind of a juxtaposition of my personality as well. But I love it, and I love the way that it makes like my clothes smell after I wear it too. My other top Regime de Fleur scent is Little Flower, which also makes me feel like a fairy princess in the spring. I just discovered this year, and this is like, it's so pretty. It's feminine, but there's an incense note, so it's also ghostly and gothic and like very gothic feminine, very, that's the best way I can describe it, but I love it. And this was made with Chloe Sevigny, who I adore and I wish was my friend. I love this so much. This is my favorite feminine fragrance. Another freshie that I forgot to mention is Eudelict by Fischerson. I love their whole brand, but this is one of my favorite ones, and this scent makes me feel like I'm in the forest. It makes me feel like I can breathe. It's very therapeutic, very calming, very grounding. I absolutely love this one. I have really good memories with this scent as well. This is Monstera by Shinu, and this is like walking through a jungle. It's so lush and green. There's a pineapple note in this. This is summer in a bottle, and I love this so much. Yeah, I think I'm allergic to pineapple, so if I can take it in scent form, then I'll take what I can get because I love pineapple, but I can't eat it. But this is beautiful and very, very green, very lush. Another fragrance that just makes me feel like I can breathe in fresh air. This is another wild card of a fragrance, Pulp by Byredo, and I've made quite a dent in this, but this is very fruity, like late summer fruit that is on the verge of rotting, which I love. I love this so much. I don't wear it as much anymore, but it's just such a like interesting take on fruit. Like I said, it's like fruit that is just about rotten in the best way possible though. It's just a lush, fruity, sweet summer fragrance that you can pull off on a hot day. It's beautiful. I love this scent by Byredo. I love their candles more than their fragrances, but this is easily a top Byredo scent for me. I also really love 1996 by Byredo, but it's in my room and I didn't want to go get it, but that's another favorite Byredo scent of mine. Last three, moving into Gourmands. I love White Rice, very nostalgic for me. The perfect bedtime scent. I don't wear Gourmands out unless it's like Musc Ravageur by Frederic Malle, which I love. I love that scent. But these three that I'm about to mention, I wear for bedtime, but I love White Rice. It's, in my opinion, the best rice scent on the market. Tahota is the best vanilla on the market. I said that like 7 times, I'm sorry. I actually would wear this one out. It is pure vanilla. That's it, vanilla and musk. So beautiful, so well done. The quality is impeccable. The lasting power, impeccable. The sillage, stunning. Everything about this scent is perfection. Last one is my guilty pleasure, Snow Moon Magic, which is my Kiki's Delivery Service Witchy Bedtime Scent. Here are the notes. Is it focused? Wait. Yay! Wait, can you see it? There, hopefully you can see it. Marshmallow, vanilla, cookie butter, lavender chai, tonka, crystals. I love this. I just upgraded to a full bottle and I love, this is like a niche indie brand. Love the owner. We share the same name. And yeah, it just is very calming. It's like chai sugar cookies. The most perfect like fall winter bedtime cozy scent. And I just savor this for bedtime and nobody else smells this on me but me, and I will keep it that way. It's perfect. Okay, let me know if you want me to do more of these types of like scent videos. I really enjoy talking about fragrance. So if there's anything specific that you want me to talk about, mention, curate, categorize into little aesthetic groups, yeah, tell me and I'm happy to do it. Okay, I want to talk to you about some books that I want to read this month in June. I have quite a hefty stack here. I don't think that I'll get through all of them, but these are some that have like really piqued my interest recently. I cheated with this one. I mentioned it in my last video, but this is Bonjour Tristesse and a Certain Smile by François Sagan. I started this last month, but essentially these are two slim novels that are just drenched in heat and regret. And Sagan writes like someone who has seen too much, too young. There are rich girls, older lovers, and this like Parisian ennui that is just very prominent throughout both of these books. Bonjour Tristesse is really about a teenage girl on a summer holiday with her father, where there's just jealousy, seduction, and self-destruction that unravel with this eerie calm. A Certain Smile, on the other hand, is like the older, more jaded sister. There's another affair, another emotional aftermath, but both of them are cool to the touch, but they have this like sting and ominousm about them underneath it all. Kind of like, not ominousm, more like angst, like teen angst. But I think that this is just the perfect quintessential summer beach read. And the first day of summer is this month, so I just feel like this is a great way to commemorate the start of a new season. I don't have this one on me, but the other book that I've been wanting to read is The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James, and this is really dense and devastating, and it's about a woman named Isabel Archer, and she is a young American woman who, you know, she has money and ideals, and she walks right into the jaws of Europe's old world traps. And it's really about freedom and marriage and illusion and this slow horror of realizing that you've chosen wrong. I think from what I've heard and what I've read, parts of at least, the prose can kind of feel like a labyrinth, if you will. But I think that there's a reason why people obsess over this book so much. And it's not necessarily about what happens. It's about how it feels to be caught inside of your own fate. The next book is The Years by Annie Ernaux, and this is my first Ernaux book. I don't know why it's taken me so long to read her literature, but I've heard such incredible things about it, and I think that I'm going to love it a lot. But this is essentially a collective memoir that really traces a woman's life alongside the shifting tides of French society in the 1940s to the 2000s, and it's told in fragments and photographs and television, politics, desire. It's very personal, political, intimate, historical, kind of like remembering someone else's life and realizing that it might be your own reality as well. Next on my list is Existentialists and Mystics by Iris Murdoch, and this is a collection of essays, lectures, and musings from Murdoch. And she is essentially a philosopher, a novelist, and basically somebody who we all want to be. And she really wrestles with morality, God, love, literature, and the limits of existentialism. I think that this is more redeemable than you think. And sometimes this is just devastatingly and startlingly beautiful. I think Murdoch is an author who cares deeply about goodness in a way that feels almost radical now. So this is a book that I want to read slowly, annotate, underline obsessively, and just really take my time with this. And I'm really excited to read this, and also The Sea, which I think I'll probably read in July. I need to read Wittgenstein, which is kind of antithetical to Murdoch in tone. It's very cold and precise and crystalline, and it's a book of numbered propositions that are meant to pin down language and meaning and reality like butterflies in a case. It famously ends with the quote, "Whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent." And this is a text to really argue with and scribble in and possibly fall asleep beside. But I think it shifts something in your brain once you read it, like you're sharpening the lens or you're fine-tuning a microscope on a topic that is really important to our existence. The other book that I really want to read, I don't have it yet, but it is called Autobiography of Red by Anne Carson. I love Anne Carson almost as much as I love Clarice Lispector and Anais Nin, but the Autobiography of Red is a myth retold through a strange, aching lens. There is a red-winged boy, I think you pronounce it Geryon, and Heracles, who is the devastating love interest. And Anne Carson merges poetry, queer longing, fragments, and ancient history into something that feels very alive and modern and mythic all at once. So if you've ever been 16 and heartbroken and full of questions about art and being and existing, this is one for you. It's very brutal and tender and just casually genius, just like everything else that Anne Carson creates. I really want to welcome summer in, not only with Bonjour Tristesse, but also the summer book by Tove Jansson. This is a slow, quiet, sacred book. Also, Tove Jansson is the creator of Moomin Valley. So this is a very sweet read, but it's about a grandmother and her granddaughter who live on a remote island in Finland. And they walk, talk, grieve, and notice the little things in life. I think Jansson is an author that doesn't push emotion. She just kind of lets it bloom in silence between the lines. It's really the kind of book that you read when you want to remember how to be a person. The last book on my TBR this month is called Invisible Cities. I've wanted to read this book for a while. I'm going to read you a little blurb, a quote on the back of this book that I thought was really beautiful. And it says, "Cities like dreams are made of desires and fears, even if the thread of their discourse is secret. Their rules are absurd, their perspectives deceitful, and everything conceals something else." I have this very strange fascination and affinity for places, cities, architecture, historical landmarks, things of that nature. And I feel like this book really speaks to people who kind of share that same affinity. Jeanette Winterson also read this book, and she said, "Invisible Cities change the way we read and what is possible in the balance between poetry and prose. The book I would choose as a pillow and plate alone on a desert island." So if Jeanette Winterson, this is her desert island book, I think that I will really, really like it. But I'm excited to read it. I feel like a lot of the books that I have this month are particularly slim, except for this one by Iris Murdoch, which seems to be pretty thick. This will probably carry into the rest of summer, if I could be honest with you. There's no way I'm going to finish this month, given everything else going on. But I feel like I have a good lineup. I feel like it's like a nice, balanced, cohesive, very moody TBR for June. I'm kind of like looking down at my TBR and looking at like the different genres that I have that really just speak to me as a reader. And we have philosophy with these three, and Anne Carson I think belongs in philosophy. Wittgenstein, Calvino, Murdoch, And then this is more like memoir, very like, from what I've read of Annie Ernaux, that she has a similar writing style to Clarice Lispector's fiction, but I could be totally off. I will be the judge of that. And then I feel like I have some like comfort reads with these two. So I feel like I have a nice mix. I am trying to decide how I want to structure my summer themed YouTube videos. I have like a whole section, like, because I write a lot on Substack, as many of you know. That is kind of like my main platform. That's my baby. So this is like a shameless plug. If you are not following or subscribing to my Substack, that would mean the world to me. It's free. And I write there very frequently. Lots of fun stuff, lots of goodies, book recs, fragrance recs, philosophical musings, all of that stuff. So I always have the link below in my description. So your support means everything to me. But with that said, I have so many things drafted out. I have a huge behemoth list of summer fragrances. I have a large list of books that you should read over the summer. I have a list of activities. I have recipes. I have films. I have so many things that are just thematic around summer, because I'm a very seasonal person and I love to live my life seasonally. So I'm trying to figure out how to organize that and kind of implement that into these videos for you. For example, for fragrances, I have them broken into 3 different categories, actually 4. The first one is woody fragrances for summer. I have gothic witchy fragrances for summer. I have like warm sunlit musks and warm floral fragrances for summer, and then a summer gourmand category that is very small, because it's not usually my cup of tea, but there are a few really good ones. So I have like 4 different categories for fragrance. Books are a bit easier. I think I have like one long list category of books. Most of them are like summer gothic books, which I've been like, I read gothic all year round, but I think that there is a very specific subgenre of summer gothic books. For example, Shirley Jackson. She's on my list for summer books. So that's like the book category. Anyways, I'm like blabbering on. If you have any suggestions, or if there's like something specific that you want me to cover, let me know. I'm for sure not going to like spout off a million different fragrances. Like, I would rather just plug the link of what I write, but I'm going to figure out how to implement that here somehow. Anyways,